Hi, how are ya? I hope you're having a great day. Today, I'm going to talk about why I started this channel and share a few things with you that my participants expressed during my research. So, I'm Dr. Pammy Jean, if you're new here. I have fibromyalgia and I've learned to live with it. I started this channel because I do a lot of research on fibromyalgia. And in the process, I've realized that there are things out there that some of the fibromyalgia community probably don't know. New studies reveal new information. So I wanted to get the word out. The participants that I interviewed were from the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia. And I found out that we're all the same. But we're all different too. One of the things that came up often while I was interviewing them was their perception that there wasn't enough research on fibromyalgia. And I think that stems from all of that early research was mostly about the psychological factors around fibromyalgia. But the database of fibromyalgia research is enormous. One of my participants stated, because there isn't enough known, and if I can tell my side of it, however it may be helpful, then it's good. She was referring to not enough known about fibromyalgia, and she enjoyed the process of being able to share her side of her fibromyalgia journey. And I don't entirely disagree that there's not enough known. Obviously, there's so much more that we want to know, but there are diseases like diabetes that it's not fully understood about that disease either. I mean, fibromyalgia had got a really bad rap in the early days, and some of you who have had fibromyalgia a long time can attest to this. Nowadays, there's more research leading to different conclusions than the early days. And unfortunately, it takes a long time for research to be completed and then to be replicated by other researchers to prove what was initially found. So once I retired, I realized it was now or never to get this channel started that I had been dreaming about. So I hope you all realize that I am learning along with you as we discover these new and sometimes older studies that give us a hint to what is out there. My hope is that we will get more answers to our many, many questions because it's time. There's always been misconceptions about what fibromyalgia is. It's really misunderstood. One, we don't look ill. Two, we can get things done. So people look at us and think, well, she's vacuuming, she's doing her laundry, she's going to Walmart, she's not ill. But our symptoms fluctuate. So I can have a good day and get out there and get some things done or some things done around my house. And then the next day, feel terrible. And that's just part of living with fibromyalgia. But I hope that anyone who doesn't live with fibromyalgia will also watch this channel and learn along with us. The response from one of my participants who also has rheumatoid arthritis, and then she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. She says, "Well, I thought it was rather a fake disease. Now I see that these people really are suffering, and also that they do have good advice," unquote. I thought it was interesting that she said these people, like she isn't one of them. But as she continued to explain, her RA was her most challenging illness that she had to monitor. And for a long time, she didn't realize how her fibro was also affecting her physically. On top of that, we're all different. You have other illnesses, maybe that I don't have, and vice versa. So your symptoms are going to vary from one person to the other. So we know that family and friends of people with fibromyalgia, they struggle with understanding what fibromyalgia is and maybe how to take care of their loved one with fibromyalgia. But sometimes people with fibromyalgia really feel a disconnection with family and friends. This is a quote from one of my participants about friendships. She says, "I find it very sad that even the people who you thought were your best friends don't give you the time of day or support you, but you thought that they'd be there for you. Understand that they've got so much on their plate, but sometimes it's quite upsetting because you've got so much time to think about it." And then she chuckles. "Because you have had to give up all of these things and everything slowly drops away. I kind of don't feel like I've let down friends and family. It's more like they've let me down, to be honest. I don't know. I kind of don't share that because I don't want people to be like, oh, that's so bad of your friends to not like, I don't want them to exacerbate, or I don't want to hear that side of it because I don't want to get that idea in my head. I want to have understanding and compassion for them and see it from my point of view rather than get very into that. How dare they not come and see me? Because if I was that harsh on my friends, I wouldn't have any. That's heartbreaking. I could visualize it. I can't say things happen to me like that in that way. I think I kind of did drop friends, and not intentionally. I just stopped calling them or stopped going to see them. And over time, we just drifted apart. That happens whether you have fibro or not. Sometimes it's difficult for people to hear certain things about another person's fibromyalgia journey. And I forgot to mention that all of these participants were pretty heavily involved in online support groups. So a lot of what we talked about, obviously, was about online support groups and their experience. So this is a quote from one of the participants in my study as well. She said, "I never had a doomsday perception of my diagnosis. Some people do. It could be a lot worse. I already knew that I had fibromyalgia before I was diagnosed. My focus was on figuring out how to live with it." And then another participant stated, "Generally, I stay away from too much information sharing or difficult topics in online support groups. that don't help me or that drain me. And another participant stated, I find it hard to hear about. It's too personal. So let me say that I won't get into a great deal of detail about the topic of trauma because it's hard for me too. I did a video recently on childhood trauma, but I didn't go into a great detail. Public forums, I have to feel comfortable with what I'm sharing as well. So my question to you all is, are there topics that you find too draining or difficult to hear? And if so, and you don't want to put it in the comments section below, you can email me at drpammyjean@gmail.com. I know that when my fibromyalgia started down its path, those first 5 years were pretty horrible. Then medication and learning to allow myself to relax when I needed to was instrumental to my ability to gradually get to a place where I had the confidence to be more active. It's scary to hurt all over. And we need to acknowledge that. It is. It's scary to wonder what our life is going to be like in the future. But I had to let that go. It's not worth my mental health and physical health to worry about things that haven't happened yet. Do I still have pain? Oh, pretty much every day. But in different places every day. Yesterday, my hips were torturing me. I don't know what I did. I must have been moving in ways I hadn't. Lastly, for this video, another thing that I hope for this channel is that when I share something like how to get better, how to manage symptoms, or whatever it is at that time, some people who were not ready to listen in the past are now listening. They didn't want to hear it before. And now they're ready to listen. I've been there. That's why this topic is so important to me. We're all at different places. So this is what one of my participants stated about that. She said, I have a girlfriend that has fibro as well. And she's like, this worked for me. And I'm like, oh, just one thing at a time kind of thing. Or it was just overwhelming, or I didn't believe it. And I didn't believe it in that moment. So I've noticed that I'd go back and revisit it and go, shoot, she was right. So it's interesting. It's happened to me, and I'm thinking, yeah, well, it does become too much sometimes. You just don't want to hear it in the moment. But you've heard it. You can't unhear things. So somewhere down the line, you're going, oh, well, someone mentioned that. And then you research it yourself and you realize, oh, okay. And it just might be that you need to read it or hear it differently to be able to accept it. So yeah, you might have to hear it from 5 different people before you will hear it. I think she hit the nail on the head. When researching fibromyalgia, there were so many articles that included fibromyalgia patients as a catastrophizing population. We'll talk about cognitive dissonance. Those articles offended me. Sure, sometimes we need to express how we're feeling. Yep. And that might be to our anxiety and our worry. But that doesn't matter. We want others to listen to us, but it didn't take me long to come to the conclusion that people really don't want to listen to your ailments. So I had to figure out another means of escape, a way to talk about what I was experiencing and find out if these things were natural and normal, a part of fibro. And for me, it was an online support group. And I hope this channel will provide some of that as well for you. I'm a glass half full kind of gal. So too much negativity wears me down. So the online support group could overwhelm me sometimes because I needed to stay as positive as I could. I had a lot going on. You all probably have a lot going on too. You got to take things one step at a time. So even though I understood their pain and their issues, I experienced an internal conflict because I felt bad for not being able to listen to their complaints. I mean, I'm human, but taking care of myself was also important. Have any of you experienced this? It's called cognitive dissonance. It's when two or more conflicting thoughts are experienced, and those thoughts are in complete disagreement. There's an internal conflict between those two thoughts. So one of them has to go. For example, you might believe this one thought or idea is correct. This is what you believe in. And then another thought or idea enters your mind, maybe through conversation with others or through an online support group or whatever, through this channel. And now you have this conflicting thought over here. So you have to make a decision. Do you accept this new thought? Or are you going to maintain your beliefs in your other thoughts? Because, as I said, one has to go. In my case, in my early days of fibromyalgia, movement or exercise suggestions conflicted with what I believed. I did as little movement or exercise as possible. I got very out of shape. I mean, I was working full time, and about 4 years after my diagnosis, I started online college for my Ph.D. So I became a huge couch potato. But believe me when I say that sometimes that's what we need. We have to recharge in order to get through a flare or whatever physical symptoms we're experiencing, or maybe psychological symptoms like anxiety or depression. You got to recharge your body. And then, as I was doing my research, working on my PhD, I learned how important movement is. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe that causes you cognitive dissonance. And I'm sorry, I know how awful that feels. But we're in this together, and that's okay. If you're not ready, it's okay. We're ready when we're ready. So I remember reading something in an online support group, a post where somebody was talking about their chest pain, severe, terrible chest pain. And I was thinking, well, I don't experience that. Oh my God, it's my hips, my feet. So that caused cognitive dissonance in my head, in my brain, in my thoughts. So I thought there was something wrong with me. Maybe I don't have fibromyalgia, and all these thoughts were going through my head. And then I realized that's her experience. So I did a post and asked if she experienced excruciating hip pain or feet pain. And she said her feet didn't even bother her at all. Her hips were sore, but not excruciating like I felt. So again, that just shows how different we are. We need to talk about our own personal experiences. It's human nature. For example, when somebody has a baby, they want to tell everybody they had a baby. When you get a new puppy, you want to tell everybody you got a new puppy. Why should it be any different for those of us with fibro or any other illness to feel like it's taboo to talk about it? It shouldn't be taboo. But we know that some people are just uncomfortable talking about health issues. I mean, you don't want to go on and on for hours, but that's the importance of this channel. Love it when you all post in the comment section. What a boring, boring world this would be if we were all the same. So I'm ending this video with a montage of my plain, boring Christmas decorations. I mean, at least I decorated for Christmas this year. The last few years, we haven't even put up a Christmas tree. So this has been kind of fun. I think in future videos, I might talk about some of the other things that my participants expressed. It's very interesting, and it falls right in line with everything else that we feel. So I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. But there are these to prove. I already know that. And then another part to generally, I stayed away from too much. I did a beat and it just fought, but it didn't. I learned how important her